The ability to make decisions is what drives us humans to do anything. Even now you decided to click on this video. But why? There are quite a few reasons generally on what influences decision making, ranging from social influence, motivation, cognitive biases, or the way our minds handle information. Today we are focusing on one key force, emotion, which mainly kicks into gear in situations that are either high in intensity or stakes. In this video, we will explain the impacts of emotion in decision making from both mental and physical standpoints, as well as the big question: are emotionally driven decisions even a good thing? Enjoy the video. First, let's begin on emotions' physical impacts on decision making. You may think emotions would be as of yet unmeasurable. They are an intangible reflection of someone's mental state, and humans currently have a very limited understanding of the brain. But, as observed by Hideki Ohira of Nagoya University, there are physical responses that we can use to measure emotions and therefore predict behavior. He drew these conclusions using a game named the Ultimatum game. There are two players and some pool of rewards, which is money in this case. One player named the Prosper proposes a deal, and the other player named the Responder may then choose to accept or reject the deal. If accepted, each player gets their agreed upon rewards, and if rejected, neither player gets anything. Using measurements of heart rate, Ohira was able to find that the Responder's heart rate followed a specific pattern a few seconds before the deal was rejected, and it followed said pattern only if the deal was eventually rejected. He also found that the anterior insula, a region of the brain that is currently understood to handle interweaving sensory information and emotions, saw higher activity on average when the responder rejected the deal. These elements could be considered both a cause and effect to emotion-driven decisions, and can serve to be an important part of our gauging of them. Furthermore, he also showed that in a similar game where the responder has no control and the rewards are automatically split according to the proposal, called the Dictator game, there was no significant charge in anterior insular activity. That singles out the anterior insula as having a large role in the decision-making portion, which, combined with its already understood role with emotions and processing stimuli, is good evidence that we can measure emotion using physical quantities. Now that we know how to gauge emotions' impact on decision making and its effects physically, let's now focus on how it affects you mentally and what things you should keep in mind. To start, research in the fields of neuroscience and psychology suggests that emotion and cognition are directly related. Emotions can help the brain figure out what to pay attention to and process, which are crucial factors in making complete and just decisions. Situations where emotions come into play occur all the time, each with their own context, emotion elicited, amount of information or prior knowledge, etc. Although it's impossible to cover every single emotion and their individual impact, it's important to know that different emotions do result in different thought processes. Based on research done by Rice University professors Jennifer M. George and Eric Dane, there are three main emotion types that each have their own impacts. Common negative emotions, contrary to what you might think, actually result in more positive decisions a large amount of the time. Fear is one of the most frequent of these feelings, especially in high-risk situations, but can actually lead to an individual being more focused and searching for information and deciding on what or what not to do. Anger is one exception to this idea of bad emotions leading to good decisions, as it commonly undermines good decisions and leads to greater risk-taking. Positive emotions such as happiness actually follow a similar result, varying due to them having issues with overconfidence rather than a strong emotion taking over their train of thought. This is an example of a cognitive bias, known as the tendency to act irrationally due to limited processing ability, which are deeply connected with emotional influence, as they can both cause each other and play a massive role in our choices. There are a lot of bias types, with many of them heavily connected to emotional response. Some examples include overconfidence bias, which occurs when someone overestimates their abilities, which is driven by emotions such as pride or optimism, or hindsight bias, which makes someone believe that a probability was higher than it was and relates to feelings such as frustration or regret. These biases use emotion to guide you in a wrong direction rather than the correct one, proving a significant force when understanding emotion and decision making. In short, emotions play a crucial role in how we make conclusions and act based on them. They can help us pay attention to particular elements and control how we process information. Emotions like fear can improve judgment, while anger and happiness can undermine it. Understanding bias and its relation to emotion can increase our ability to make informed, rational decisions. So now we know that there are good and bad sides to emotions' influence on decisions. But overall, are they better or worse for your decision-making capabilities? Starting with the benefits, our previously mentioned points express that emotion can help increase our awareness and grant more search capability. As we have seen, emotions have many roles in how we perceive the world and conjure decisions from everyday situations. Situations where we need to think things through appear all the time, sometimes being risky or having a large impact on our lives. Emotions are the driving force that tells the brain what to consider in a situation. When something has a lot of information, emotion gives the guidance that you need on what to pay attention to, allowing us to make decisions much faster in sometimes time-deficient scenarios. However, it's vital to note that our brain prioritizes survival over most things, and is rather good at ensuring it. We as a species were once in a time where this used to be super important and played a significant role in assisting our ability to survive. These capabilities allowed for quick judgment of potential threats and rapid decisions through emotions conveyed such as fear or urgency. But in the modern day, feelings such as these still play a massive role in our lives, especially when things are high in stakes and can alter important aspects of us, such as our social and financial lives. A neuroscientific study was conducted and discovered that patients with lesions on their prefrontal cortex had often performed actions detrimental to their well-being, leading to social and financial losses. They were observed to have reduced emotional reactivity and limited internal signaling, indicating the positive impact of emotional decision-making and its overall capability to aid us in navigating a complex environment. On the other hand, emotions aren't all good in the decision-making process. As you have seen previously, positive emotions and anger can sometimes cloud judgment or make you overconfident, having relations to many cognitive biases. Because decisions and emotion tied to them are extremely context-specific, oftentimes memories of these scenarios won't align with new ones, leading to rather faulty decision-making. Based on these, we can likely conclude that listening to both emotion and logic makes the most sound and cohesive decisions. By using both facts and our own gut reactions, we can combine them to promote the most practical decision-making that can apply to almost every situation. Developing emotional regulation skills is also important, as they can remove these impulsive decisions and encourage a lot more rationality. Just know that emotional decisions often aren't bad at all and can positively impact you in a wide variety of scenarios. The real question is, though, why is this all important? Why should we care that emotions have this role in our decisions? Although there are numerous reasons for emotions to be vital to our decision-making, such as the ability to make social and financial decisions, the most clear example that impacts our daily lives are advertisements, specifically the hidden messages incorporated into them. One of the most significant contributions to advertising's ability to captivate us is through color. In a general sense, our brains have come to associate certain colors with certain emotions. In the American culture, for example, red is thought to be a symbol of love, anger, and passion, green a symbol of luck, nature, and health, and purple a symbol of royalty, magic, and mystery, to name a few. This has been shown to differ by country. In a 2019 study, researchers asked people from one of 4 countries, China, Germany, the United Kingdom, and Greece, what emotion they associated with a certain color. Most connections stayed fairly constant between countries, but there were some interesting results. For example, people from Greece were the only ones to significantly associate purple with sadness, and Germans seemed to associate black with sadness far more than other countries. Almost every company uses colors corresponding to what they want consumers to think of their brand to subconsciously influence them to think that way. For example, the combination of red and yellow is used widely throughout the American fast food industry because they are attention-grabbing and symbolize quickness. These subconscious symbols are used in almost every advertisement, and they use emotional connotations we assign to sort of nudge us to buy more. Other elements of a design can affect the intended message as well, such as the font of any text, whether the overall design looks cluttered or simplistic, and almost any other part of the design. We as a culture have assigned meaning to all of those, and they hinge on giving an emotional appeal to bias our judgment towards buying their products. Emotions play a large role in decision making, although it may not be obvious at a first glance. Emotions can be determined through physical processes like heartbeat, which can then predict someone's behavior before they even consciously know it. They work in tandem with cognition, helping to organize thoughts and bring in prior experiences as part of the decision-making process. Emotions can be beneficial to the decision-making process, allowing us to gather thoughts and focus under time pressure, but they can introduce biases as well. And finally, emotions' role in this process is being exploited in advertising, using our connotations assigned to colors to encourage us to buy more. These are many different areas in which emotion can play a role in decision-making, and they can all combine into decisions like you clicking on this video. And even though people often blame emotions for bad decisions, they are as crucial to the process as just about anything else.